Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to PSE's Stock Market Webinar. I'm John Garcia from the PSE's Market Education Department. We're glad to have you with us. 2 weeks ago, we learned about the SEC's Capital Market Program and the requirements for aspiring stockbrokers and market professionals in securing the necessary licenses. So if you missed that session, you can watch the recording of that webinar in our official Facebook page or our YouTube channel. So today, we invited friends from the industry to talk about their experience, so how they started their careers and what their current job entails, and including the pros and cons, and if if it's financially rewarding. I guess that's the most important part, no, for most of our viewers. So we will do things differently this afternoon. No presentations, just a fireside chat session with our guest panelists. So like I said earlier, we have invited a special group of panelists for our career talk this afternoon. So they hold different roles from different or various stock brokerage firms here in the Philippines. So let's start to get to know them. Our first panelist is a certified public accountant and a graduate of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. He worked in 2 auditing firms before shifting industries and working in a stock brokerage firm. He currently holds the position of Director and Head of Compliance at DBP Daiwa Capital Markets Philippines, Inc. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Vicente Budoy Oro. Good afternoon, Budoy.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon, my fellow panelists.
Okay,
Good afternoon, John.
Thank you for accommodating our invitation. We're so excited to have you with us. We are very looking forward to hear your career experience, how you started, and your journey overall. But before we get to the details, why don't you give us an overview of your current role at DBP Daiwa?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm the compliance officer and associated person of DBP Daiwa Capital Markets Philippines, or DBP Daiwa. My main role at the firm is, I oversee the internal controls running across all functions, meaning all employees, all departments, including the board of directors and shareholders, to make sure that we are all compliant. All we are doing, everything that we're doing are compliant with all the regulations that are applicable to the company and to the industry as well.
So the
quite a handful, but very exciting.
Wow. Okay. So the associated person makes sure that everything that you're doing inside the brokerage firm is within the bounds of the regulations covered by the SEC and the PSE.
Exactly.
All right. So we'll get to know more about Budoy Oro and his role as head of compliance and associated person for DBP Daiwa Capital Markets. Thanks, Budoy. Please stick around as we get to know the other panelists. So our second panelist holds 2 bachelor's degrees, namely in applied economics and business management, and a master's degree in business administration from De La Salle University. She is also a certified securities representative and a certified investment solicitor. She currently holds the position of vice president and head of operations at COL Financial Group, Inc. Let's all welcome Miss Melissa Nang. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Hi, everyone, and to my fellow panelists. Great to be here.
Okay, so we're so thrilled to have you with us. So medyo iba ang ating interaction this afternoon, Melissa. Medyo relaxed. Care to share what you do at COL? So ano ba talaga ang ginagawa ng isang head of operations for a stock brokerage firm?
Okay, so I'm the head of operations. So our team handles the back office processing of various transactions. This does not include only the trade transactions, but also other transactions like corporate actions, initial public offerings, tender offers, stock rights, all of these stuff. We also open the accounts of the clients, and we also maintain these accounts, and we also process the different transactions that is needed by the client, like, for example, lodgement and upliftment of their stock certificates. So basically, all transactions has to pass through our team.
Wow, quite a handful. Very big responsibility being the head of operations. We'll get to know more about that in a couple of while. Stick around, Melissa. I'll introduce our final resource speaker. Thanks. Okay, so our third and final, definitely not the least resource speaker, is one of the dealers of First Metro Securities Brokerage Corporation, serving broker-assisted clients of the company. So prior to being a dealer, he started out in the backroom duties, customer service, and finally as part of the sales team of First Metro Sec. He is a graduate of De La Salle University with a degree in applied economics. Let's all say good afternoon to Mr. Michael Lichalco. Hi, Mike. We're glad
Hi,
to have you.
good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, Budoy, Melissa, and to our viewers.
Afternoon.
All right. So, Mike, you are the stockbroker or stock trader, right? So,
Yes.
would you like to
correct.
give us an overview of what a stock trader does for the firm?
Okay. So basically, my work with First Matter Securities is I'm part of the sales and dealing team. So our main function is to get the orders or trades of our clients. So it could be a straight posting, or if they have a careful discretion posting. So we handle those trades for our clients. At the same time, on my part, since I'm handling high net worth clients, I also do relationship building and reports for their requirements. So anything that our clients need, I support them in those areas, and I relate to them also the strategies or the stock research of our research team. So basically, that's part of my work. And then earlier, Melissa also mentioned like the operations like. Let's say upliftment and lodgement. So as a as part of the front line of the company, I also help them do those kinds of work for our clients. So yeah, that's the summary.
So very interesting job. So si Mike, siya yung mga pag nanonood tayo ng mga Wall Street movies, ano? Sila yun eh, nag-execute ng mga transactions behind the terminal.
He's the man.
We're like that, but less drama.
More work and less drama.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've gotten to know our panelists, let's call back on screen si Budoy and Melissa. Okay. So okay. So now we go to the segment wherein we'll do our chat session. So how this will run is I'll just ask a few questions and then direct the questions to any of our panelists. So say someone is answering, and if you want to add, then feel free to add. And for example, ikaw yung sumasagot, and you think that the other panelists can also add or relate, then pwede mo rin ibato sa kanila yung tanong. So think of this as parang kwentuhan lang for all of us. Okay, so are you guys ready?
Ready.
Okay, sige.
Ready.
So sige, siguro for starters, can you just share with us how did you get into this line of work? Really, what led you to your role today? So let's start with the youngest in the bunch. Budoy, can you share with us?
Obvious. Well, I started my career in audit. I spent 5 years there. And after that, well, I found that the experience was more than enough for me to land a junior management role outside the practice. So that's how I started. And then from there, I moved to the stockbroker or the stock market, as we all know.
Okay, so Budoy, CPAs, no, usually ang career path nila umaakyat sa corporate ladder ng mga auditing firms until they become a partner. Pero in your case, you did a career shift. You opted to shift industries. So why work for a stock brokerage firm?
Yeah, well, first the question is, in audit, if you spent more than 5 years, then the question is, are you really want to go to become a partner or stay a little bit longer to get more senior role when you go outside. For me, I think 5 years was enough. And then why stock market? Well, stock market has that fame and prestige, that stock market attracts professionals. And I was lucky during that time to be recruited by my friends from the same auditing firm. And that was in 1997. So from audit, I joined SBC Warburg. Back then, it's now UBS actually. And I was recruited by two of my friends from the auditing firm. And luckily, one of those friends became my wife later on.
Wow, may love story angle.
The angle.
Is it safe to say na Budoy baka mahanap ang forever dito sa stock market?
Oh, definitely. Well, from the movies pa lang marami na dyan. It's full of action. And of course, hindi natin matatanggal yung angle na yan.
Okay, kanina you said that you joined in 1997. So I remember this was the time of the Asian financial crisis. Would you say that it was the good timing to go into that industry? Kasi right now we're also in the middle of a crisis, COVID-19, the pandemic. What can you share about that?
Actually, when I joined, it was the tail end of the glory days already. Actually, the market, if I'm not mistaken, was around 1,800 in 1997, and then it went down to below 1,000 sometime in 2002. So, hindi ko ma-relate yung mga kwento ng mga glory days because back during the glory days, it was really lucrative. And then when I joined, the development came in. So it was somehow very exciting pa rin. Because I was already part of may mga consolidations na nangyari in the market. So it was quite exciting.
Okay, sige. Let's get to know more about Budoy's experience. Melissa, how did you start? Was it always was it always a stock brokerage firm that you were looking into?
No, sa akin medyo parehas kay Budoy, no? So well, I was also recruited to COL because at the time I got to know the chairman of COL in my previous employer, and I used to learn technical analysis with him. So I would go to his office sa COL, that is CitySec Online, and then he would teach me technical analysis, which I need in my previous job, no. And then when I left my previous employer, he didn't know naman and then somebody told him that I'm resigning or I've resigned. So he got hold of my number. I don't know how. And then he called me up, and then he invited me basically to be interviewed by the president in COL. And then after that interview, I was initially recruited as a special projects officer. So I started with COL in the business side. So it's not actually operations department. So because my experience kasi is with the bank. So I worked before as an account officer in Security Bank and Union Bank. So I'm more familiar with the business side, which is setting up credit facilities for the different clients of the bank. So I was more exposed on the business side. So nothing to do with the operations, no. And then because of the untimely demise of one of the senior officers of COL in 2010, it created basically a vacuum in the organization. So I was asked to lead, to transfer to the operations department, which ayoko pa nga kasi I didn't think I was suited for that position, no. But anyway, so I transferred to the operations and basically learned everything from the ground up, and that was how it was with COL. when I started in COL, it was 2007, and the client base of COL at the time was only around 5,000 clients.
Wow.
Oh. And ilan na clients nyo ngayon?
Close to 500,000.
500,000.
Wow. Wow, congratulations, Melissa. Ito lang, no? Ngayon ko lang nalaman, galing ka pala sa bangko dati. Were there any similarities to the way a brokerage does business, say, to the bank?
Well, I guess yung experience ko, not necessarily lang sa bangko, no, but all of my other experiences contributed to what I'm doing right now with, especially in operations department, no. I guess like yung nung nasa bangko kasi ako, I deal with clients. So here in operations, sometimes it also requires me to deal with clients. So I can handle them and I can answer their questions. And I have an additional advantage because I know how the bank works, the operation, so the flow of money, so even the bills payment. Kasi at the time, before I joined COL, Union Bank was very active in offering cash management services already to the different companies, which is not a standard yet. So I remember when I started with COL, deposit was direct deposit pa eh. So wala pa yung bills payment eh. So that was one of the things that we actually improved on. And so I know the flow. So that helped me out. And then when I was an account officer in the bank, naabutan ko rin yan eh, yung Asian crisis eh. So I was involved with the restructuring and reading documents. So which actually helped me out also because I know I'm familiar with reading contracts, agreements, yon, based on my experience in the bank.
Wow. Okay, so safe to say ano na for professionals with existing experience outside the industry, meron din naman mga experience na magagamit din when they join the stock brokerage.
Yeah, definitely. Parang walang tapon nga eh. It wasn't until, syempre, di ba, when you're young, parang you don't appreciate all of these things. But when you already have so many experience and you're actually in this type of a position wherein you lead people, you mentor them, and you teach them, you can see that all of the experiences that you've gathered, all of the work experiences, it helps you out eh. So walang tapon.
Wow, interesting. Okay, now let's talk to my contemporary. Been in the industry for 11 years. Ayan, medyo halos sabay tayo nagsimula, Mike.
Akala ko ako.
Well, ang ginanda naman sa'yo, Budoy, medyo baby face ang dating natin. And if I would like to call you, you're like the George Clooney of our industry, ano? Anyway, going back to Mike, ikaw ba, did you really start in a brokerage firm?
Actually, no. I mean, my interest for with the markets was I think mga college pa siguro ko at the time. So I have no idea on what the stock market is. So basically parang nag-start ako sa mga drama. So yung mga yung nabanggit mo kanina, there's yung mga movies like yung Money Never Sleeps or Wall Street. So parang I got the feeling na parang this is a nice profession and I can say that it medyo action packed eh, that when you saw the movie. So well, back when I was in college, but I have a village mate that his uncle works for a stockbroker. So we're just having discussions and all. And then I borrowed a book from my friend that just to see what is a stock market. So basically, when I read that, I absolutely didn't know anything or wala ko na-absorb.
Okay.
But basically, it got me interested on the subject and on the industry. And then when I finished college, I worked for an international bank first. And then when I had more experience, I was trying by myself the stock market. So I don't know how to read the quotations yet. So what is a bid and ask, like that. So I really started from scratch. And then um, I think after 2 years of working in the international bank, my friend from FMIC, she said that I think there's a opening on First Metrosec. So I I just applied since I'm very interested on the market, and I'm really keen to know and learn. So I started from there. But basically the position that was given to me was still on operations. So it's in line with what I was doing before in the international bank, because I started also in operations. So yeah, so I started in operations with First Matter Securities. And then what happened was, I think there was that time there was a resignation. So I just presented myself that I'm really interested to do trading, and yeah, I mean, I want to be part of the front office of the company. So yeah, that's what started me.
Okay. So, ayan kaya kita nyo guys, no, nung panahon namin ni Mike, hindi ganun kadami yung mga learning materials available. Di pa uso webinars noon. Kung
Yeah.
magbabasa ka ng libro sa sarili mo, kung minsan mahirap intindihin, no, lalo na kung hindi ka sanay. So, I think the generation now are lucky to have
Yeah.
these mga platforms available for easier learning, easy to digest. You said earlier kanina, Mike, you started in backroom operations then.
Yeah.
Tapos an opportunity presented itself to you nung may nag-resign and nag-apply ka to become a trader. But
Yeah.
nung bang pumasok ka sa First Metrosec, at the start, talaga bang tinarget mo nang maging stock trader?
Actually, yes. So I really went into First Metrosec thinking na I really want to learn the markets because I'm interested talaga. So actually, even in the back room, you get to talk to the traders in the on the front office. So at least there's already learning. So since there was an opening, and I just tried. I mean, I just tried to grab the opportunity that time. So luckily and thankfully, my our president, Sir Gons Ordonez, and my previous boss, Ma'am Christine Chan, they gave me a shot on that opening. So I think that was after 1 year lang. So I'm 10 years already doing front office work, and so I'm still enjoying it.
Wow, that's good to know. Good for you and congratulations on that, man, Mike.
Yeah.
So you took the SRCE, yung the one
Yes.
being administered by the SEC, ano. Actually all of you did, no? Si
Yes.
Melissa, being a certified securities representative, also took the SRCE, and si Budoy also took it for the AP, no? Required kasi sa mga positions ninyo na you take that training and exam with the SEC. So yung 2 weeks ago, ang topic namin is really about that, no? Starting a career in the Philippine stock market. So really the first step is to take that training with the SEC, and say if you pass the exam and you want to get the license, you need to be endorsed by the capital market institution. So in this case, for Mike, it's First Metrosec. For Melissa, it was COL. For you, Budoy, was it DBP or the previous firm?
DBP.
DBP na rin. Okay, question ko, mahirap ba yung exam? Sige, sige, let's start with you, Budoy. So naalala mo, ano yung experience mo dun sa training and exam?
Well, I was forced No, it was in the pipeline already. Kasi the predecessor was retiring, and biglang na-cut lang talaga. Biglang nag-accelerate yung schedule niya to retire. So I was forced, like it was December of 2018 when I had to take everything. So it was the six modules, I think. I took it. I took the first sets of exam like in 2017, but just to try, and I only passed 2 modules. One is the RBCA module, which is I think everyone's considering as the most difficult. But since it's the thing that I've been doing like for 15 years before that exam, so it's like so easy now for me. But the other things that the other 4 modules which I flunked. I I finished them in 2018 December before Christmas.
Wow.
So and then January I had to assume the role already.
Okay. So teka, ang narinig ko doon, you've been doing the RBCA role and tasks, no? For 15 years. So
Yes.
ibig sabihin you were not the AP yet. So does that mean that there are positions or roles in the stock brokerage firm, say under compliance, that does not require a licensed professional?
Yes, actually the compliance role basically doesn't require you to have the license. But if you
Okay.
become an AP, then you need to become a licensed SEC licensed person. So
Okay.
there are structures wherein there's a compliance officer who's not a licensed, and under that person is an AP who's the license. So may flexibility on that part, but still the role is the same,
Yun.
and the
So,
responsibility is the same actually.
all right. So sa isang stock brokerage firm, ilan ba ang AP?
Well, ideally, the requirement is just one, but
Mhm.
marami na rin nagte-take ng exams. So there are foreign brokers who have at least 2, but only one designated
I see.
as AP. Kasi isa lang naman talaga yung dinedesignate. So isa, abang na lang or alternate just in case the AP will resign. But there are
Ayun.
structures like there's a chief compliance officer, and
Mhm.
then there's an AP.
Mhm.
Then most of the locals are just one, AP and compliance in one, compliance officer in one.
All right. How about you, Melissa? What can you share about your experience doon sa training and exam for the licenses? So you took 2 um, licensure exams.
I'm pretty sure yung exam ni Budoy mas mahirap kasi that's for AP eh.
Okay.
But for the CSR and CIS, I guess kasi since my background is really with business, it's not that hard for me, no? Kasi some of the
Mhm.
concepts are very, very familiar to me. So it's basically just reviewing it and well, I'm not sure kung multiple choice pa rin yung exam. At the time that I took it, it was still multiple choice. So it was easier. So,
Mhm.
medyo parehas naman yung CSR and CIS eh. So,
Mhm.
siguro sometimes ang mahirap lang when you're studying for an exam, if you've already been working for so long, sometimes you have to get into the habit of studying again.
Uh-huh.
And like if you're a student and then immediately after, let's say you would want to take the exam, I think it would be easier, no? Because the habit of studying. But if you've been working for quite a while and then you go back, you study again the concepts, and then you take the exam again. So I remember feeling that way of like parang hindi na siya natural. So, but the exam in itself is quite easy because it's whatever that you learn naman eh,
Mhm.
it would appear in the exam. No surprises.
Okay. So ang nakuha ko doon, so the younger ones who are relatively fresh from school or a few years pa lang na-graduate with a related background would find the exams easier. But even if medyo mid-career ka na, you've been working for a few years, kaya pa rin naman. Kaya pa rin na ma-pass yung exam.
Yeah, I think so because there are 2 ways naman that you can learn, diba? It's
Mhm.
through normal, which is what we do in college,
Mhm.
even postgraduate degrees. But a huge portion of the learning would actually come from your work experience.
Mhm.
So definitely, before you can get a license, you have to have an endorsement, as you said, diba?
Right.
From a brokerage. So it assumes that you have at least some experience working in a brokerage firm already. So that
Mhm.
will help you out in the exam.
I see. Okay. Mike, would you say the experience is the same for you? Nakatulong ba yung applied economics degree natin dito sa CSR
Yeah.
exam?
Actually, for me, yung CSR kasi I took it medyo fresh off college pa eh. So I think
Oh,
mga
okay.
2 years pa lang ako nung just working nung I took the CSR. But recently kasi, to answer your question, yeah, it helped. So yeah, the background on economics, there's portion in the test that I was able to apply. But recently kasi, since we are also catering to mutual funds and to fixed income assets already, so we're venturing out on those asset classes also. I had to take also the CIS and the fixed income licensure exam. So yun, nahirapan ako actually. So I'm just echoing the sentiment of Melissa that it's easier if you are just fresh off studying. Pero of course, you get the hang of it. I mean, you really have to study again. So I was able to pass naman all of the exams that I was required. So, yeah.
Okay. So under the capital markets program of the SEC, they provide the training, the
Yeah.
seminars, and they also provide the review materials. Say, imagine if you don't have the relevant background, no, or the related background. Do you think for someone who attended the seminar and really studied the review materials, can they pass the exam?
I think I'll go ahead.
Go ahead,
I mean, if you are not in a business background or finance background, I think they could still pass the exam with the materials presented to them. Of course, also the experience and additional learning that you do by yourself, that will also help a lot on the exam. So I guess it's not a problem naman, even if you don't have the background.
Would you agree to that, Budoy?
Well, it's a big challenge if you don't have any background actually. At least finance background medyo makakaya pa. But now I think the exam now I think it's shorter. And medyo mas diverse yung yung topics. Hindi tulad dati mas focused on per topic basis and then maraming items. So it will be a challenge if you don't have any background, and then just rely on the materials.
Okay. So probably courses like the PSE certified security specialist course can help, ano. So pwede kayong mag-enroll, which by the way is ongoing ang enrollment hanggang June 23. So if you don't have the related background, so attending classes like this will help you prepare for the licensure exam being administered by the SEC. Okay, so we're done with the exams. We're done with starting your career. So let's talk about your roles right now. So what are the essential personal attributes, no? Ano bang mga skills or abilities or even the personality, no, na kailangan para mag-succeed sa trabaho ng isang AP, isang operations personnel or even head of operations and isang stock trader. So sige, let's start with you, Mike.
Okay.
Ano bang kailangan para maging successful sa pagiging stockbroker, sa pagiging stock trader?
Okay, so for me, I think my operations background also helped, no, on my work, because syempre trading also entails details in terms of let's say getting orders from your clients and kung tama ba yung mga pinopost mo orders. So that's what helped me. I mean my experience with the operation side helped me kasi at least medyo na sharpen yung detail orientedness ko. And then in terms of people skills is very important also, because this is front office, so I always talk to clients, so I always have meetings and talking to them every day. So I think that's a very important skill is you should be able to have some kind of let's say social skills on with you and basically. So also I think very important also that you know at least fundamentals and technical analysis. So at least if you're in a meeting and then the research guys will discuss our strategy and all, you would be able to understand them also. So the experience itself will make the work easier. So
So gaya nga ng sinabi kanina ni Melissa, no, walang tapon na experience. So,
Yes,
it's
yes,
really
that's
full
correct.
circle, no.
Yes.
You need to be technical. You need to be somehow good with numbers, pero at the same time maintaining good communication and people skills kasi you also deal with
Yes.
clients. So ibig sabihin,
Yes.
someone with a sales and marketing background can jump into this industry and succeed.
It could help because I mean, all experiences will be helpful naman in terms of yun nga, dealing with the industry. Pero syempre, I mean, there are some information that's really in for the stock trading or the markets only. So you have to know that as well.
Okay. Melissa, no, sa operations ng brokerage, so I understand that you deal with a lot of problems. May mga problem solving skills din and also having to deal with clients. So ano sa tingin mo yung skills mo that made you succeed in this role? Or say for an operations personnel, ano ba ang magiging helpful sa kanila?
Sa akin, if you belong to the operations team, I think it's a must that you are detail-oriented. So tama yung sinabi ni Mike eh. Attention to details is very important because you have to make sure na walang error yan eh. And then
Okay.
you have to have analytical skills. And then you also have to have a very good reading comprehension because you read a lot, especially for corporate actions, no? So these things, it's not given to you. Eh. You have to be the one looking for it and understanding it, no? So I guess, well, short kwento lang, no, on the detail-oriented side. I remember mentioning before na, diba, I was hesitant in moving to operations because I thought of myself as not being detail-oriented. But before kasi in my previous employer, I had parang a manager who's very particular in terms of the alignment, yung may ganon eh. So sometimes we would submit letters to her and she would ask us to redo it several times just to perfect the alignment, the spacing and everything.
Relate
It
ako
wasn't
dyan.
until so it wasn't until that I was in operations that na-realize ko, detail-oriented na pala ako. Parang I was able to adopt that skill without me knowing it. And it helped me a lot because sometimes when now they would present documents to me, I could see in a glance na, oh, malito. Parang na-develop na siya eh. So,
nagiging second
that
nature mo
one,
na.
yeah, that one helped me a lot because when certain documents are presented to me, kita ko agad eh. And of course, familiarity na, no? So, and then you have to learn everything about your job. And that will allow you to answer difficult questions and challenges. Kasi if you don't have knowledge about your task or your role, ano ka eh, you're not confident eh. So when problems arise, you would not be able to solve it. So definitely a high level of skill is needed for your role. You have to have that. Kasi kung hindi, maka-fluster ka when things come your way, which it inevitably will happen. No? So yun.
Yeah, I mean, tama naman lahat ng ano eh, no? Ng sinabi eh. In any job, no, you really have to own yung kung ano yung ginagawa mo. You really have to take ownership on the role kasi knowing it by heart makes you really the best at it. So I totally agree with you, Melissa. So si Melissa and si Mike, mostly, no, they deal internal and with clients. So let's talk about a different aspect of the brokerage, no? The compliance part. So si Budoy, mostly ang katransact mo hindi clients eh, regulators. So ano naman ang skills na nagagamit mo to succeed in that role?
Okay. For compliance or the associated person, since you're covering the entire business, so somehow you should have a good grasp of the entire business, like of every function within the business, from front going back to the middle office and then the back, including the research. So kailangan medyo naiintindihan mo how they work, plus the front office, because the exposures are in the front office most of the time. So the person should have that, analytic mind for every transaction. That naiintindihan mo kung paano tumatakbo yung buy and sell. And not just that. So maraming intricacy that you really have to know. And then apart from that, since we are governed by so many rules and regulations, kailangan you have to appreciate reading laws and regulation. Kasi hindi siya may iwasan, and it's very risky if you don't read them. So the person has to have that regularity in him, that kailangan nagbabasa siya palagi.
So
right.
You would say, Budoy, na the learning continues. It's a continuing learning experience, even with years and years of being in the industry.
Yes, that's correct. And actually, on the personality type for a compliance officer, I think kung familiar ka, the executive type of person is the best for this. Ito yung mga someone who is extrovert, people person, and then they focus on facts and details, make decisions that are normally based on logic. Kasi compliance, logic and reason. A planner, and of course, you have to be very organized. So parang just between you and me, Jana, I'm actually talking of women. Women. 75% of all APs in the industry, or at least in the Philippine Stock Exchange, are women. That's about 98 among 132 houses. They're women, and they're not women just because they're naging default, but I think there's some distinctive charm ang mga kababaihan to approach different kinds of personalities in order to deliver the objective or anything, a project man or a new policy. May charm sila . So a challenge dun sa mga walang ganon, well, we have to really tap on our feminine side in order to succeed in the role. I think it's very important. Kasi, like for example, if you talk to the front office people or the research people, konyo-konyo, or maraming but if you talk with other functions which are equally important, then somehow you have to balance the approach. You have to have that right approach. So on the women, well, we can expound on that, but I think we will need another session on that. But those are the characteristics that will really work. And an additional for compliance officers, I think it's also important that we have that communication skills, whether it's verbal or the writing skills, because APs and compliance officers we do a lot of writing, whether it's the regulators or management, the board. So we write a lot. So it's a plus if you can do both verbal and written skills in communications.
All right, noted on the required skills. And another key takeaway there is that this is really an industry not dominated by men or women. It offers equal opportunity to everyone. So, which is actually a good thing, right? So now let's talk about, you've been in the industry for some time, everyone, no? Budoy, Melissa, and Mike, also myself, but me different, medyo sa exchange ang side ko. But what are the changes na nakita ninyo dun sa mga respective jobs ninyo as a result of the development in the stock market? Say back in the 90s, wala naman online trading. In the early 2000s, that's when it started. Tapos now really the retail segment is dominated by online. Tapos eto pa, may COVID-19 pandemic. So can you share with us the changes na na-observe ninyo through the years, and also in light of the recent situation? Let's start with you, Melissa.
Well, sa akin, when I started, I mentioned, di ba, na mga 5,000 plus lang yung clients ng COL. And at the time, trading was also half day. So when I transferred to the operation side, our client base started picking up.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time also, some of the existing systems kasi sobrang simple lang siya. And then that's when I encountered certain corporate actions na it became varied. So like for example, for the rights, nagkaroon ng parang partial payment, may full payment. So siguro over the years, no, you can really see the development in terms of, well, sa amin, yung scale. So the number of clients coming in. So definitely to accommodate that scale, we have to really upgrade a lot of the system. And that's not very easy to do, especially if you're dealing with a huge base, diba? So it's not very easy to make changes. Siguro pag isa-isa lang mabilis pa, but there's parang I've heard of this na it's easier to steer a small boat rather than a yacht, parang ganon, diba? So when you're small, it's easier to make all of these changes, but when you're big, it's harder because you have to make sure that in the process of upgrading and transitioning, there's no failure. So, yon importante yun eh. Hindi ka pwedeng padalos-dalos because yung integrity of the system, di ba? That's very, very important. And then, so yung corporate actions, as I mentioned, there's a lot of it coming our way, which is very different from the time that I started. And then even the regulation, the procedures, even with the pandemic eh. Kasi di ba before, we used to, parang sa bangko lang yan eh. Even though there's an online facility that's available, people were still comfortable with the old way of banking, which is going to the bank. Diba? They don't do bills payment. They still do over the counter. So yung iba may passbook pa. Diba? So it took something like the pandemic to basically force people to look for other means to make sure that their banking transactions push through. So in the same way, when the pandemic came, so we had to adjust because we had to work from home. So a lot of these things, no. So for me, change is very good because it means that we're growing, we're developing. It's a challenge, and you actually have to adapt because if you don't do it, you will not survive. So yun. So sa akin, maraming many changes, but I think what's good sana is that everyone works together so that our consolidated efforts actually lift the entire industry. So we're not developing on our own way, but actually we're contributing to each other, and then we're lifting up, diba? We're developing the entire industry because we're all participants in this industry anyway. So we should cooperate with one another and share our inputs and work for a best practice that will benefit everybody.
Totally agree with you, Melissa. Okay, napasarap ang kwentuhan natin, no? Also I also want to get the questions of our audience, but before I go to the Q&A segment of our audience, I want to ask one more question, and I hope you guys will indulge me. Is the career you're in a lucrative job? Can we give the audience an idea of say the pay range? Pwedeng hindi yung ngayon. How about for starters, for those who are starting out? Nasa magkano ba ang mga range nila? Say for an AP or for a compliance officer, Budoy, nasa magkano ba yan?
Well, sa SRC kasi, no, sa Securities Regulations Code, the AP has to be at least a director or I think assistant vice president. So to become an assistant vice president, so most likely nag-gain ka na ng experience, and I think the AP, since AP it's not actually an entry role or not a role that you take when you
Mhm.
enter the industry. So most likely you are already a senior. So at the range of my wife is watching it. Sorry.
Drum roll, please.
But I think it's very competitive, especially if you join an organization or a firm which has more products, or especially the foreign ones, and the client base is diverse. So it will matter in the salary
Okay.
story.
Sige, sige. Very
But because it's a senior role, so mataas na rin siya when you assume an AP role.
you can tell that Budoy is really good at what he does. The way he answered my question. So Melissa, yung mga members ng backroom ng brokers, no, yung mga ops team, normally yung starting for an entry level, nasa magkano ang range? O ito, hindi yung sa'yo yung tinatanong ko.
Mahirap yata sagutin yan, John. But siguro ito na lang yung isi-share ko. Being in this industry has actually taught me that people should not depend on their salaries. Ang point kasi dito, di ba, is that what are we teaching people? It's to invest. So you can actually get a different source of income on top of your salary. So sa akin, I think one of the assets of becoming a member of this industry, being a part of this industry, is that it really parang hammered on the fact that we should learn how to invest. And the stock market is one of the venues wherein you can make a lot of money investing for your retirement. And that's an advocacy that we have with COL, which is really for our clients to be financially wealthy. And this means educating them on how to invest. So for me, sa akin, lucrative siya because I'm part of this industry, so I'm familiar with the stock market. I get to know the different listed companies. I can read about it, and so I have an idea based on the fundamentals and some technical analysis to actually do investment. Okay na ba yon, John?
Ba? Wow. Ibig sabihin, yan pala isa sa mga yan ang isa sa mga magandang experience na makukuha mo then being in the industry. You will really learn to manage your own portfolio, which I think if we go to yung mga financial literacy sessions, yan naman ang tinuturo natin that an individual should have multiple streams of income. So it's good that, as market practitioners, you are actually practicing what you preach. Pero Mike, yung trabahong stock trader, yan talaga ang palaging nakikita sa mga movies. Like you said, na-inspire ka ng mga Wall Street, or yung Money Never Sleeps. Expectation versus reality. Malapit nga ba ang reality sa expectation?
For me, I would say it's very competitive naman. I mean, salary-wise, it's competitive. But I'll also echo what Melissa said, na we're here not just because of the compensation, but because we'll be able to handle our own money. So, kumbaga, that's the parang pinaka malaking return for you that you will be able to do. I mean, you'll be able to know how to grow your own money in this industry. So likewise, I would say I won't stay here for 11 years if it's not competitive and it's not a healthy environment. I would say that we have a very friendly and healthy environment in the office also. So that contributed to the whole. Kumbaga, the whole package is I mean, holistically it's very good. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I like the answers. I like how it sounds, and at least, diba, it's striking a balance between expectation and reality. Siguro lang for our viewers, while our market professionals also being individuals themselves can also invest for their own accounts. ang priority ng mga stock brokerage firms, of course, is yung mga transaction ng mga clients nila. So always naman, while our professionals here, our guests are also investors and traders themselves, they always put the interest of their clients first. Okay, so we yeah, definitely. So we now go to the last part of our discussion. I call this the career key takeaways. So before we end this afternoon session, I would like to request our panelists to share their career key takeaways, career advice that you would like to give to our audience. So let's start with you, Budoy.
Yeah, thank you, John. Before I give it, thank you, John, and the PSE for giving me this opportunity to share my experience with you. Well, for the takeaway, compliance officers or the SEC licensed associated person is one of the most in-demand role in the industry, banking and finance, actually across all industries. Compliance officer is now uh, very in demand. Why? Because of the changing regulatory landscape. Every day it's changing. The anti-money laundering is being amended every day. The other year we had the revised corporation code.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, meron na tayong SRC. And I think with the technologies, with the changes, compliance will be more complicated, will be more advanced in the future. So I encourage everyone, if you have that, I said that type of personality, that mindset, that big picture thinking, please try, explore, regardless if you have that background or basta mahilig kayo magbasa, and then you're interested in the stock market or in the banking industry, uh, and then of course, mahilig kayo sa tao, hindi kayo mahiyain, I think compliance will give you a very, very satisfying, it's full of satisfaction, a role that will allow you to grow beyond your wildest dreams. And with that, thank you, Mike, thank you, Melissa and John, and thank you, viewers from Facebook and Zoom.
Maraming salamat, Budoy, for those inspiring words. Next up, we have Melissa. The floor is yours.
Sa akin siguro, I have three things na ma-advise ko sa tao, no? So, number one is, in whatever career that you would choose, make sure that you have the necessary skills. So, competence, that's very important. So, let's say, for example, you decide to venture into this career, make sure that you have the necessary skills for that particular position. So that and that entails constant learning and making sure that you are able to do the role properly and excellently. Kasi if you're venturing into something tapos hindi ka prepared, you'll end up being stressed, you'll feel insecure. So these things so know yourself, know your strengths, and then there are certain roles kasi that are that can match your level of strength, no? And once it's matched, definitely mag-excel ka kasi naka-highlight yung strength mo eh. So important is you know yourself, you know your strength, and then you build on your strengths by being a very competent person. And then the second one is integrity. So definitely we have to be good stewards of the trust that is given to us. So you are, that's very important. So reputation wise, and then in everything that you do, you make sure that you are the same, the way that you present to people outside and inside, it's the same. So integrity is very much important, especially in our industry where we're handling the assets of our clients. That's very, very important. And then number three is that you have to have passion. In every job, definitely there will be challenges. So there will be ups and downs, and there will be difficulties that will happen. Like for example, in operation, our work here entails us to work very, very long hours. So if you don't have that love for your job, hindi ka tatagal. Na-mention din yata to ni Mike earlier, no? So what would make you stay in a job is you love what you're doing. So despite all of the hurdles that can happen, problems, you will surpass that because you love it. So kahit na sabihin natin maybe there are times that ready to give up ka na, you would stick to it. And having that passion, having all of these three, would actually make you excellent in whatever that you do, no? In whatever career that you would go. And again, I would also like to thank everyone. Take this opportunity already to thank everyone. Thank John, thank the PSE, our Budoy, Mike, thank you for your insights. Also for the audience for listening to us share our experiences. And I hope that you learned something from us. Thank you.
Oh, ganda nun, Melissa. Maraming salamat also for sharing with us your insights and your expertise. Finally, we have our stock trader, Mike.
So
Go ahead.
yeah. So for me naman, so I think there's nothing worthwhile that is ever easy. So in this job, I think that it's very important that you are very passionate on your on stock trading. Kasi hindi ka talaga tatagal if you're not really interested on your work. So you have to be very passionate. I also echo that we need integrity in our work since my work is in terms of managing people's money. Um, I have to be honest on my dealings with my clients. So it's a relationship. So when you're starting out, syempre, the clients will do business with you if you are straightforward and honest with them. So that's very important also. Also, if you're really interested in the stock market, should do a lot of reading also. I mean, that's one thing that is very important. You have this is a continuous learning. So in any craft that you do, maybe in others, let's say medicine or law or something, stock trading is also like that. It's always continuous learning. There's always something new that will happen into the markets. So very important that you are always on top of your toe. And yeah, so basically that's it. Just be passionate. Integrity is also very important in our work. And just enjoy the ride. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Ang ganda nun,
Yeah.
no?
So yeah, I just want to say thank you to PSC, John, Budoy, Melissa, and yeah, to our viewers. Hopefully, you will learn something from us.
Again, maraming salamat, Mike, and Budoy, Melissa. Ang ganda nun, no? You need grit to be great, and with that comes passion. You need integrity, and of course, you need competence. So again, thanks to all our guests for sharing with us your career experience, insights, and most importantly, your invaluable time. So I hope we get to invite you again, no, Budoy, Mike, and Melissa, in the future for other webinars. Pag-usapan naman natin yung mga fields of expertise ninyo. So we hope ma-invite namin kayo ulit. And if you do need to get in touch with the PSE, our contact number is at the screen right now. Our telephone number is 632-8876-4888. You may email info@pse.com.ph, or if you need to get in touch with my team, our email address is academy@pse.com.ph. Visit our website for corporate information. It's www.pse.com.ph. For the latest disclosures, you will find them available at PSE Edge. The website is edge.pse.com.ph. For investing materials, it's www.pseacademy.com.ph. Like and follow our official social media accounts. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And of course, don't forget to watch our recorded webinars. The edited videos are posted in our official YouTube channel. And while you're at it, please hit the subscribe button. For the most useful apps, of course, we have PSE Edge for corporate disclosures and information right at your fingertips. And whenever there's an IPO, the PSE Easy app is the one for you. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a learning and inspiring filled afternoon brought to you by the PSE Stock Market Webinar Series. This is under the Starting a Career in the Stock Market series, Career Talk with Market Professionals. We're going to have a part 2 for this one, so watch out for our announcements in our social media accounts. Again, this has been your host. I'm John Garcia from the PSE's Market Education Department, wishing you all a happy weekend. Stay safe and stay well, everyone.